Hi class, this is the frame for lesson 2.2, analyzing conditional statements. And this is about writing different types of statements. So writing different types of statements. And not only are we going to write them, then we're going to decide if they're true or not. So, and deciding if they are true. Okay, so the first main idea, and probably one of the most important main ideas here, is what a conditional statement is. Okay, so our first thing is going to be a conditional statement. And a conditional statement is a statement that has an if and a then statement. So this is a logical statement. It makes sense. A logical statement containing two parts. So it's got two parts, a hypothesis and a conclusion. So it's got a hypothesis and a conclusion. And the hypothesis is my if part. So I'm going to say if A, and A is my hypothesis, then B. And B is my conclusion. So I'll say if A, then B. So a conditional statement really has if and then in it. It's if something, and whatever that something is your hypothesis, then something else. And the then after that is your conclusion. So, so the next piece that we're going to look at here is something that we can do with our conditional statements. So we can take a conditional statement, an if-then statement, and do its converse, or find its converse. So what a converse does is it's a statement formed by reversing the hypothesis and conclusion. I just shorten those up to save space. So instead of saying if A then B, what we're now going to do is switch those around, and we're going to say if B, then A. And when we do the notes, when you watch the notes video, we'll use these examples. We'll do some problems with this. But your converse is when you switch your hypothesis and your conclusion. All right, the next thing that we can do with a conditional statement is we can find its inverse. Okay, so an inverse is a statement formed, again, a statement formed by negating, and what I mean by negating, we're going to use the word not, by negating the hypothesis and the conclusion. Okay, so if our if-then statement was, if you have brown eyes, then you have brown hair, by just negating, we would say if you do not have brown eyes, then you do not have brown hair. So negating is just really putting the word not in there. So if, and then this symbol stands for not. If not A, then not B. So if not A, then not B. So again, negating, we're going to use that symbol for. We can also make From an if-then statement, we can find the contrapositive. So the contrapositive, again, is a statement formed. It's a statement formed by reversing and negating. So we're going to switch them around and make them both the nots or the negatives. The hypothesis and conclusion. So we can say for this one, if, now I want to switch my pieces, so I want B here, but I want the negative. I want to negate it. So if not B, then not A. So next we're going to move to kind of a little bit different. It's very similar though. We're going to move to something called a biconditional. And you should know bi as a prefix means to. So a biconditional is a statement. It's still a statement that contains if and only if. So instead of having if-then, it's got if and only if. So this is going to look something like A, and then for if and only if, we put I, F, F. For if and only if, B. My so what? What's important to understand about this? Really, we encounter if-then statements all the time. So we encounter if-then statements all the time. You need to be able to analyze them. Okay, so we encounter if-then statements all the time. If you start thinking about it and kind of look around and listen, maybe mom or dad said, if you do this, then you can do this. And you should know then if you don't do that, you can't do the other thing. So we see them all the time. You really should understand how to consider them, how to think about them. So this is the end of the frame. Make sure you watch the video to get the notes filled in for lesson 2-2 as well.